everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful week since we spoke last. It's Monday, April the 15th, Tax Day in America. Woo woo! And we got a lot going on tonight. And we are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in the beautiful state of Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We're on Roku, YouTube, and Facebook. We hope you all have a wonderful night. Where those of you who are radio only, no picture, we will describe everything to you the best way we can. So let's get started. Take it away, Preston.
Okay, I am ready. Always get a little bit nervous before these shows, if you can believe it. We've been doing this for almost a year now, and I still get nervous. Go figure. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Light Gate. I am your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is, of course, Dolly Safran. We're so excited. We have a wonderful new guest for you tonight who I'm pretty sure you haven't heard before. You may have, but if you haven't, you should, because she is amazing, and I'm so excited. I've got her books right here, and wow, she is just a really special person. So I'm super, super excited to have her join us tonight. And yeah, this is episode 51. Amazing. Now, before we dive into the show, of course, as you guys know, I love to say hi to you all in chat. It's because of you we do this show. And it's so awesome to see all our friends here each week. So I'm going to just start with that and say hello to Brian Morgan. Thank you. Thank you very much. And who else do we got here? Michael Kennedy, always bringing the popcorn. Thank you, thank you. W. Decker, hello. And thank you so much for the super chat. Very, very generous. I truly appreciate it. And it just warms my heart when we get these donations. So thank you, W. Decker. And yes, we're going to have a great show for sure. Who else do we got going on here? David and Louise, greetings from New Jersey. Yes, a great evening awaits. I've been in New Jersey. It's actually a really beautiful state. Olivia, hello.
Hello.
And my dear sweet sister-in-law, Christy. Hello, Christy. Sending you love too. Thanks for tuning in all the way from Oregon. Wow. Octopus with no friends. Hello, octopus with no friends. I hope one day you do find some friends. Okay, who else? Star Orchid, happy Mondays. Yes, I hope we brighten up your Mondays, which can always be a little bit glum, especially for all of us who have to work so hard. Oh, goodness. Ruth Kleiber, hello. How you're doing? Girl in the desert. Good evening or good morning, wherever you are in the world. Happy Monday. Yes. Dana Matthews. Hello, everyone. Yes, let's go. Hello, Central Wisconsin. What else we got here? Catherine Four Feathers.
Hi, Catherine.
Hope you're doing well. And one of my favorite monikers is just a Gen X dirtbag baby. Hi, everyone. I've missed you all. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Penny. Awesome to see you here. Yay. Okay, who else? We have Natasha Stone and Becky Duncan. Very, very cool. Catherine Jones and Trish Jacobs. Oh, she says hi to our guest as well. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of you guys here. Oh, sweet Susan Alloway. You know, I love you dearly. Hope you're doing really well. I'm just so amazed by you, Susan. You know that. Videos from the underground. Becky Duncan, nice. Much love from Virginia. Nice. Much love right back at you. Allison Carr. And who else we got here? Extreme Truth, Pandora's Box. And J.R. Amadeus Schiffer.
Hello. Yeah.
Who else? Penny Coons. And all the way from Australia, Kayleen with the impossible last name. Can you do it, Dolly? Winmither?
Gwynmithar. Yeah.
I hope we got that close, Kayleen. Please forgive me if I butchered it. I'm always in trouble with the pronunciation police. And rat food. Okay, we better get started. One more. Overprotected. Hi, Preston. I'm currently reading Out of Body Beginner book. Yay! So glad you're enjoying it. I love that book. I'm putting on a sequel shortly. Okay, that's just about enough. It's time to bring on our guest. But first, before I do, let me pull up her bio here because she has an amazing bio. I'm so excited, Dolly, for tonight's guest.
I know.
Such a neat lady. Tonight, we are really proud to welcome spiritual and paranormal experiencer and ET UFO experiencer and author Heidi Elisabeth Hansen. We're going to be talking about real life experiences with ghosts, UFOs, ET, all manner of the paranormal, God, the whole deal. This lady is amazing. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Heidi is a spiritual writer, and her first ever contact with God happened at the tender age of 6 months. And throughout her life, she's had countless moving, profound, miraculous events and spiritual insights. And the experiences she writes about in her books, shown through the powerful unconscious mind deeply rooted in her connection with God, have taught her many things. And one of those lessons was asking God correctly and in detail when something was on her mind. And you will, of course, experience all of this while reading her books. And as Heidi says, in her own words, I just want to give you this quote because it's beautiful. My humble hope is that my books will take you on a journey that will hopefully positively influence your life. By listening to God, I have not only saved my life, but also the life of my son. Ooh, I want to hear about that. Furthermore, I found a lost boy, avoided an assault, just to mention a few events. So this is what we're in for, you guys, some amazing stories. Her books tell a story of life filled with supernatural events. And several people have asked her to share these experiences with the world. These are real life stories, stories that can sometimes be a little intimidating and scary to deal with. But as Heidi says, it is an area that has given me an insight into not being alone in this world and not being afraid of sharing the stories with you all anymore. I hope to bring you enlightenment on your path in life so that you too will become a beacon of light that others will be inspired by. Heidi is quite accomplished, just so you know. She is a Dame Lady at the Most Honorable Order of Christian Knights of the Rose. She does amazing philanthropic and community service work. She's making a difference in a way a lot of people should be doing, and she's doing the good work. She currently resides, get this, all the way in Vordingborg, Denmark.
Yeah.
Hope I got that right. So we have to give her a huge thanks for staying up so late to join us tonight. And let me just here, before I do that, let me show you some of her books, just because I'm really impressed. And I want to make sure that they get some good coverage, because these are really heartfelt, beautiful books that are so sincere, so filled with amazing events. These are the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we do that, let's bring on our guest and not delay.
Heidi, hi, hello.
Hi, Heidi. How are you doing?
Everyone. Okay. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my God.
We are excited to have you. And first, thanks for staying up so late. We can rarely get people in Europe or England.
It's 3:18 a.m. here in Denmark, right? But I have to correct you. I'm born in Vordingborg. That's correct, in the south of Denmark. But I live in Korsør. It's a small harbor town. Yeah, all right. I do that. But no worries. That's okay. I am from Vordingborg, so there's no worries about that.
All right. Darn it.
So that was quite an introduction. Wow.
Hey, we have only skimmed the surface of stories, because your books, which are just so amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So, should I just start out? trying everything. Oh my goodness, yeah, I like the
You look
supernatural
back,
events.
He's gonna hold his up. Watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We both have one.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
so heartfelt, so sincere, really amazing events. And I'm really impressed, Heidi, because it's not just one thing. There's
Yeah.
ghosts, there's precognition, there's remote viewing, there's all kinds of UFO experiences, really
Yeah.
deeply, profoundly spiritual experiences. It's all connected, and it's so great to see you bringing it all together and
Yeah.
bravely sharing it with the world, which
Yeah.
people really need to just bring it out. So kudos to you, and I'm really, really excited that you've done this. Because not a
Thank
lot of
you.
people have that courage, honestly. All right. Well, as you know, as Dolly mentioned, when I was trying to get through our technical difficulties, we had a
Yeah.
little bit of technical difficulties, but we got in on time. But yeah, I always like to start the show with how the guest came into this world. Were they a skeptic? What was their family life like? What were you like as a little kid? What were your first experiences? Basically,
Yeah.
what brought you on your journey to where we are today? So I know you have a lot to share.
I have a lot to share with you guys. Absolutely. I have. And I think the first one I want to share with you is why I did write the books. You also told that others told me to write the books. And it was actually God that told me to write my books as well. He showed me that in a vision many years ago. And he showed me a kind of, a teacher's desk, the high one, where the
Yeah.
teacher is standing there writing the books. And I just looked at it and I said, what? Am I going to be an author? I said, I didn't know at the time, and what you know what he answered? No, I'm the author, you're the writer, he said. I was just finished, that made me smile so much. So it was amazing that he told me
When
that.
was that? How
Yeah.
old?
Oh, that's many years ago. This happened. Yeah.
Well, before you ever thought of doing anything like that.
Exactly. Yes. So that was actually very amazing. It was.
Wow.
So when I look back at my life, I have experienced so much, guys. I have. And the very, very first one was my experience with God when I was only a 6-month-old baby. And I want to share this one with you to begin with. Well, he's always been with me in my life, still is with me in my life. So that's amazing. Well, back then I was 6 months, probably 6 months old baby. And I actually wanted to go back home to him. I wanted to go back to God because I didn't want to be here on earth, actually. I had a very tough experience. I think I was talked too hard when they talked me in to sleep. So I had the feeling that I just wanted to leave this world and I wanted to go home to God again. So I actually stopped breathing. And in that moment, I stopped breathing, God appeared to me. And I knew it was God. I felt it in my entire being. It was God. The way he spoke to me, the fatherly, caring, wonderful voice, when he spoke to me, and he said immediately, breathe, Heidi, breathe and live my message. And then, I started to breathe again. The love, the way he said it to me was amazing. So that's I have done. And the message was actually the message of the unconditional love. And that's the love for all beings in the world and beyond. This is actually the first one I ever had. It was, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's almost like a near-death experience in a way.
Actually, yeah.
Wow.
It was, right? So
you remember that all the way to 6 months.
I remember everything. Everything I experienced with God and UFOs and ghosts, I remember everything. I do. It's actually almost in details. So it's amazing
Well, maybe you have a photographic memory,
maybe, yeah.
Be a common trait
Exactly.
among contactees. I've noticed this. Contactees have this amazing memory, and it goes way back to where science says we shouldn't be remembering. According to mainstream science, our memory starts around 4 or 5 years old. I'm like, I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah, because here's another example of someone who says, no. I remember all the way down to 6 months.
Exactly, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, that's kind of sort of marked the theme for your life, huh?
Actually, yeah, yeah, it did actually, right? And I can also tell you the next one I was going to share with you, my first encounters with UFOs and with ghosts was actually around 4 or 5 years old. So incredible. And I want to, of course, I want to share this one with you. I love to talk about aliens and UFOs. It's so exciting about that as well, you know. And that one actually took place at Grandma's place, and that was in Vordingborg. It was, yeah.
Okay.
My twin sister and I was visiting Grandma, and we had to stay the night at her place. I want to share that with you, okay? We were to stay that night because Mom was out working late, okay? And that particular night, there was a huge thunderstorm that arrived. And the boats in the harbor looked like if they were, you know, dancing around on the water. And the lightning was extreme. And the energy, you could feel the powerful energy that was in the air, right? And we were all in bed. And suddenly a bolt of lightning hit an area very close to the house, so close that we and Grandma flew out of bed and ran into the living room. We were so scared. So
Imagine.
she went into the kitchen to make us a cup of tea so that we could calm our nerves. That was wonderful. And, you know, during the night, there was a small break in the storm and it got a bit quiet. You could barely hear, you know, the thunder in the distance, but the storm wasn't over yet. We all went actually to the door and Grandma opened it and we looked out into the garden and down to the harbor. And it was as if we were standing in the middle of the eye of the storm. There was almost no wind, but you could see the lightning in the distance and you could hear the thunder in the distance. We stood there on the staircase to the front yard and just stood close together, right? And then it happened. Suddenly, I felt this, you know, strange and different kind of energy inside of me, and my eyes turned towards the sky above immediately. And there they were, 3 of them, small spacecraft hovering side by side up there, so bright, so beautiful.
Wow.
And I just stood there, you know, 4 or 5 years old, and just stood there, wow, looking at that sight. That was amazing, you know, it was. And I had that feeling inside of me that it was friends from another world. I can't explain the feeling, but I had that feeling that it was friends from another world.
Wow.
So, you know, I wanted to, yeah, I
At
wanted
age 5, that's amazing.
yeah.
Now, what did they look like? Just
Yeah, I can only describe it as it looked like small balls, kind of lights, but I knew it was spacecraft, small spacecraft, and they were so bright in color, beautiful white color, actually. Yeah,
wow.
it was.
And
Yeah.
did you guys talk about it, or what did your mom?
Yeah, I did that because when, you know, I wanted to ask Grandma about it, okay, and I wanted to ask her who they were, but I knew inside of me I couldn't say friends from another world. How I knew that, I don't know. I just knew I couldn't say that to her, but I asked her, who are they? And you know, Grandma, she stood for a while and looked up in the same directions as we did. And I can tell you, I could feel her fear immediately. And
Oh,
she pulled us back, smacked the door, pulled it into the living room, and we sat down in there. And I didn't understand it back then, you know. And I said, but why? I said to Grandmother, why are you afraid? She just shook her head. She couldn't answer my question. She just pushed us into the living room. She was really afraid. And
oh.
today I know it's because she was afraid of the unknown, right? And I wasn't. I just knew it was friends from another world. So that was my first ET experience or UFO experience. It
Well, that's a
was.
good name for another book, Heidi. Friends
Yeah,
from the world. I like it.
yeah, absolutely, right? And I can also, in relation to aliens and UFOs, I have been on board several alien crafts throughout my life, but never as an adoptee. Never. I was always there as freely. I was always there by my own will. So that was amazing to experience that. So when seeing them or hearing them or talking to them, I just know inside of me it's the truth and that they are real.
Yeah, well, I remember you
Yeah.
reading that in your book, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear out there, and you're like, "Huh, this is strange.
Yeah.
That's not my experience." Which is lovely because there is so much fear surrounding this subject, which I
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, right? So, and this is one I will tell you many more experience about aliens and UFOs, and of course also about God and my experience with Him, and of course also some of my ghost stories as well. You can see how much time we have, right?
yeah.
So the next one, also a first encounter, was also ghosts and spirits. Was also 5 years old at that time, and it also took place at Grandma's place. It did.
Poor
So.
grandma.
So Grandma, she told us, oh, sorry.
No, I
That
was going to say Paranormal Central.
exactly, yeah, it was actually, right?
Yeah.
So, well, Grandma, she told us that we did not need to be afraid of the ghost because we knew in our hearts it was ghost. And the cold wind that's always passing through there, the windows and the doors were locked, but we felt it from time to time when we were sitting there on the floor watching television, especially me and my twin sister, when Grandma was out there cooking dinner for us. So we got used to ghosts, and we have seen a lot of them throughout life. I can tell you that. And I can also, in related to that, I haven't written it down, but I can tell you, my family and I, and mom and dad, me and my twin sister and one brother. My little brother wasn't born back then. He will be. Well, he. Yeah, sorry about that. But we actually moved into a house in Slaves City, and it was a haunted house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So we learned a lot about ghosts in that period of time.
what was
Sorry,
your
I'm a
first?
little bit nervous, guys. So sorry
No,
about
no, it's
that.
all right. I am too, believe it or not. So, what
Yeah.
was your first ghostly encounter that you can remember,
The first ghostly
or an early
encounter,
one?
I have several. So the very first one was, I will give you this one just a moment. I have one that I want to share with you. That's a little tough,
All right.
actually, but it was a really good one. It was related to one of my brothers in the basement at the haunted house. I can tell you about that one, right?
All right.
And this is one of the things I remember from childhood, when spending time with mom and dad in the kitchen and making dinner together as family. And we help what we can as children, and we love watching them cook food, and we learned a lot from them. And one day, mom asked me to fetch my brother, who was in the basement working on his bike, and dinner was ready, and we just have to wait for him, okay? I just looked at them and said, why me? Because the ghosts were always in the basement, and we all have met the ghost, and we were scared of it. So I was really not fond of going down there to fetch my brother at all. I can tell you that. And the only bathtub we had in the house was in the basement as well. That was not good. So when
Yes.
we had to go there, do the bath, everything, we always walked together because we didn't like it. We could also
Uh-oh.
feel the ghost there, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So that was, oh my God. So what I will tell you is, I had to fetch my brother there, and he was sitting in the back of the basement. So I had to walk all through the basement and into a boiler room to get into the room he was actually sitting in. Okay. And when I came there, I wanted to go into the room where he was sitting. The doorway was open, but I took one step and I went directly into an invisible wall. I couldn't get through it.
Huh.
I said, wow, I was actually a kind of bounced back from there. And I knew it was the ghost. The ghost had prevented me from getting into the room where my brother was.
Wow.
And I get a little, no, it can't be. It can't do that to me. I have to get hold of my brother to tell him that we need to have dinner now. So I started to say it out loud. Well, we have to have dinner now. Please come. But he didn't react to anything. I tried one more time, but I couldn't get through the door. It was impossible. I tried again to say it. I think I did it 3 times. And the last time I almost yelled at him. See, we have to have dinner now. Please come. And I stood there in the door, just outside the doorway. And suddenly my brother turned his head and very surprised, he looked at me. Don't you want to come in? Hi. He was so surprised to see me standing there. And I just stood, what? He hasn't heard one word when I called him out. He said to me, yeah, I haven't heard you called me. Not ever. It was like, and I froze totally inside of me because that was a little bit scary because that ghost is really, really strong to do that, to be able to shut up the sound and to be able to prevent me from getting through an open door.
I've heard of ghosts being able to, push people and stuff like that, but blocking sound.
Exactly.
Dolly, what do you think's going on there? I'm curious.
It's not that he's blocking the sound. He was occupying the mind of her brother, so he wouldn't hear her. He was
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Catherine.
Yes, and Eric says, "Don't be nervous. This is great." People in chat are lovely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
That would freeze me too. So what happened then?
Well, I can continue when I'm going back about my life because I have written so much down for you guys. So back then, I was a little girl. I was often out by myself, close to nature and peace. I love to be alone out there and to enjoy the little birds and insects, watching the spiders. And I had that feeling of being one with everything and God. And I do have wonderful siblings. I love to spend time with my twin sister, and I have 2 brothers, right? So, and I love them with all my heart. I can tell you that. But already back then, I was a little bit different in all what I did. But I was also playing football, and I was also out there hide and seek, as we kids did. But I love being alone out there by myself, exploring everything. And I also remember another thing while growing up. I was really ridiculed in 6th grade in school. And that happened because I said out loud that I could see the soul in someone's eyes. The class just laughed at me, but I was very sincere because I can see the soul in someone's eyes. And that's absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to share that with you because
yeah, that's a common thing. The soul is the wind, or wait, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah,
that's a very common phrase. So for you to say that as a little kid is very perceptive, Heidi.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I can tell you, I have been ridiculed a lot of my life. So that's why it wasn't easy for me to start with all of this, but I did eventually. So I'm happy I did that. So the next one I will tell you, I was actually married to a skeptic. He's now my ex-husband today. I want to state that as well. So, and he didn't believe in ghosts. He didn't believe in anything I did. He didn't believe in anything I said. So it was really hard to stay married to him. But I actually got an experience together with him. I think that changed him. And I want to share that with you as well. So you can go through life being a skeptic, but when you open your eyes, something happens, right? We all know that if we are open to our surroundings, many things can happen, right? So I want to share this actually with you as well. And what happened was that one day, the phone rang and I pointed towards the phone without turning towards the phone. I just pointed towards the phone and said to my husband, you need to pick that up because it's for you and it's a death in your family. That was just blurted out of my mouth to him. And, I also realized, what did I just said to him? On the same. And he just stopped, and looked at me in disbelief. And he said, what? He said, kind of, what are you saying? And, he was shocked by my words, but he picked up the phone as I told him. He just hung on the phone and he said, how did you know that? I just looked at him, without saying a word, and nothing came out of my mouth for a moment. And then I said, I don't know. I just knew.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that changed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
My daughter's father had the same, well, not the same, but early on in the marriage, he found out that, oh my God, she's psychic and she does weird things around here. And when his grandfather, well, his grandmother, my daughter's great grandmother was passing, and we were talking and we were in the room, our bedroom. And I said, it is so weird. I kind of feel like your grandfather is here. And he said, what do you mean he's here? And I said, I think he's watching you right now. And he said, what do you mean? And no sooner came out of my mouth that he ran us. He ran right up against us and went right through us. And he was like, did you just see that? And I was like, yes. He said, that was my grandfather. I said, yes. It freaked him completely out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember once I was at work, I took my break and this crushing sadness came over me. I'm like, why am I sad? There's no reason for this. And I tried to shake it off. Then it hit me again. Then it was like, just gosh, I feel like somebody died.
Yeah.
I felt bad for even thinking that. And when I got home, it turned out my father's best friend, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I was kind of his friend too, because he was the only other writer I knew. He's like, you're
Yeah.
passing me buying books. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's super famous. He wrote the China Syndrome, the movie. So
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it when he died. It comes over you. It's a weird feeling. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Skeptics, they don't like it.
No, skeptics don't like it. That's okay. But when eventually everyone will experience things they can't explain. So we are all there and we will all go that path. So eventually. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's normal. Now I have a
It's
question for you. Is your twin as psychic as you are?
Yes, my sister can also experience things. She can also feel them or hear things, see ghosts. She has some truly amazing encounters as well, also with UFOs. She hasn't seen aliens, but she has seen UFOs and everything. So yes, she sees
That's
all
amazing.
this.
Okay.
Also, yeah.
I was wondering.
So
Yeah.
are you a fraternal or identical?
We are identical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Heidi.
we are.
In my latest book, I talked about the twin connection with contact.
Yeah, you did.
I'm like, oh my gosh, because this keeps turning up.
Yeah,
Here
it
you
does.
are, another
Yeah.
person who's having contact with an identical twin. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So who's older? Are you older or is she?
I'm the older one.
All right, congratulations.
10 minutes.
Wow.
My sister is laughing too. Oh my
Always
God.
call her
Yeah.
your little sister then. All right. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Because
it is.
the twin connection is something really special.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Wow.
it really is.
Oh, wait,
Exactly.
Let me give a shout out to Rick. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Do aliens see ghosts? And if so, what do they say about them?
Yes.
Hmm.
They're as aware of them as we are. Yeah. They're more aware of them, actually, if you want to get technical about it. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
They OBE with them and they see them in real time in this dimension. And they sort of have a developed relationship with their families that way. It's very interactive for them. They see energies on so many different levels all at once that it's like one great big free for all for them, And it used to strike me. I'd be coming up on Mama, and she'd say, "Just a minute," and I'm thinking, "Why? Are you talking to somebody?" She is, and I'm thinking, "Okay, who was that?" And she's my uncle. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, all right."
Wow.
So yeah, they do see them absolutely.
I just looked into a case in Puerto Rico where a mother and daughter were taken on board, and the father had passed away some months earlier, and the mother was so grief-stricken she was actually ill and losing weight and wasn't recovering. They were pulled on board. Turns out they were both physically ill as well. The daughter had problems with her leg bones and joints. They healed her. They healed the mother, and then they took them to see her deceased father. And they both did not remember this. They had missing time, but were separated, went under hypnosis separately, and both recalled that.
Oh, wow. That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah,
so
it's very much
Yeah.
a part of our
It's
lives,
truly
yes.
amazing. Yeah.
that's why I'm so excited to
Absolutely.
talk to you, Heidi, because it's not everyone who brings together the spiritual aspects of all of
No.
this. And your books are just a smorgasbord of amazing experiences, one after
Yeah.
another.
Yeah. I
And
have so many.
I saw one in
True.
there. I know
Yeah.
I'm jumping around here a little bit and probably skipping ahead, but where Grays came down to you and started talking to you about planting trees.
Yeah, they did actually. One day I was sitting at my computer, and I was answering some questionnaire at Nordstad. It's called in Denmark, and on that I can earn coins to plant trees in some countries. 3 countries actually: Brazil, Tanzania, and Zambia. That's the 3 countries I can plant trees in at the moment. And suddenly the aliens appeared to me. And they said to me, Heidi, we love that you plant trees, but you need to do it faster.
Mm.
That's what they told me. And I said, I will do whatever I can. So I try to do the most questionnaires as possible so I can do it. I hope one day to be a millionaire so I can plant loads of trees, or find an organization where I can do it together with them, because they, sorry about that, guys, you just need to have a sweep of.
That's fine. Yeah. I just love this because I've had this connection before. Susan Alloway, who's
Sorry
on
about
the
that.
no worries. Susan Alloway, who's I think in chat, she talked
Yeah,
about how she had this tree she loved. And
yeah,
contactees have this special connection to nature, which you're showing in trees.
yeah,
Michael Serrata
yeah,
had that same thing. I think
yeah. Well,
contactee because he is on a mission to plant as many trees as he
yeah,
possibly can.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
read that in your book. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is one of the
Exactly.
messages they're really trying to get out to people. And
Yeah.
Oh, they
The
do.
ecology of the planet, it
Yeah,
remains
yeah,
the cycle. They
yeah,
want to replenish as well. It's reduce,
yeah,
reuse, recycle, but replenish is the biggest star of them all. And we
yeah.
need to do that. If you knock a tree down, put a new one in its place or somewhere
Exactly.
nearby.
Susan
You'll
named her tree Bronco.
Yeah.
Trees are amazing. So we
Exactly.
can develop a
So I
relationship.
hope one day, to plant millions of trees. That would be amazing. And that's what the alien wants. Loads of trees need to be planted all over the world, especially Brazil, especially those countries. We need to do an effort to prevent climate effect. And we need to, because trees are our life breath. So we need to understand that, okay? And we need to help the animals as well. So it's very important for all species on this planet.
Right.
It is. So it was it was a wonderful experience with the aliens coming to me saying that. So I will do my very best because they said that it has to be faster.
Well, it's nice to get
Okay.
that encouragement
Yeah,
too. Hey,
exactly.
we're so glad you're doing this. Do it more.
Yeah, do more. Exactly. So yeah, I have another one. I have so many experiences, so I just go on with them. Is
Yeah.
that okay with you guys?
Oh, this is so
Absolutely.
Just stop me
fascinating.
if
I love it.
necessary, okay?
Yeah.
The next one I want to share with you is actually related to my son. And it was a situation where he needed my help. And that one I needed to tell and share with you as well. That day when it all happened, I was visited by a woman I know. She just returned home from India and she was telling me all about the interesting adventures she had experienced during her stay, when suddenly I was interrupted in middle of the conversation by an urgent feeling that someone or something was calling for my help. So I interrupted our conversation immediately and rose to my feet, saying to her, my son needs me. He's out playing and I have to go now. Of course, he said, she was very surprised by this interruption. And, I raced down the stairs because inside of me, I felt my son calling for my help. So, I felt this kind of energy inside of me. I always said it's God that's controlling me. So I felt this energy inside of me controlling my path around the buildings. I had no idea where he was, but I just know he was out there playing with friends. But suddenly, God stopped me. The energy inside of me stopped. And I couldn't take another step. I was stopped. So I looked around, but I couldn't see my son. But suddenly I turned to that side and I could see through a door, glass door, that my son was in there. Okay. And my son stood there. He was standing on the railing, balancing with his hand in the air, holding on to the bottom of the railing up to the next staircase. Sorry about that. I don't know why. I'm just.
We're making you talk so much. I love the alien cup, by the way. The alien cup is really
I
cute.
just think I'm nervous. That's why. Yes, I think that's why. But he was holding on to the bottom of the railing of the next staircase. He was not able to climb down on his own. He was kind of abandoned. They all left him, and they were going out laughing at him and just left him to stay there. So he was really sad, actually. They didn't bother to help him down there. So he was really miserable, and he actually started yelling for me. And that was the signal I have been intercepting, right?
Wow.
So if he had let go of the grip he had, he would be falling down the stairs to the basement, and he would have badly hurt. I know that.
Mm.
So my son held on desperately to the railing above his head, and he was so happy to see me, and he just screamed, "Mom!" When he saw me, and the tears started rolling down his cheeks.
Oh,
So
my
quickly,
goodness.
I helped him down and hold him close to me, and he was shaking all over his little body. So, and he then said to me, "How did you know, Mom?" And I said to him, "How did you know? How did you know to find me? How was that? How did you do that?" And I said, without hesitation, I said, "God showed me the way to you." And that was that moment my son realized that God exists, even though he knew up in front that before this incident, but this gave him a physical evidence of God's help and how it works in real life. Is that so, Mom? He said. Now I also have to learn to pray for his help. That was that experience.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard many cases like that between mother and child, particularly.
Yeah.
A mother cares for her children and watches over them no matter where they are. They know.
Exactly, yeah.
That's really beautiful.
I heard my daughter talking to me when I was pregnant with her. And
Yeah.
first time I heard her, I was like, "Oh my God, this is my daughter." And so I sing to her in my head. And I sang to her every day. And talking about mothers knowing things. I had her, she was about 10 months old, and we were in a grocery store. And I had her in the cart. And when I went in, I noticed, I got this bad feeling, and I looked over and I saw a woman watching us. She wasn't really with a cart, she was just looking at shelves. And everywhere I went in the store, I kept seeing her. And we were going through the checkout. I saw her outside on a payphone talking to somebody. And I knew this was a bad situation. And I told the clerk to tell the manager to call the police. And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because somebody's going to try to grab my kid." And she said, "How do you know that?" And I said, "Trust me, I know. I've been watching it happen last hour." And I went outside, and I went immediately to my car, and I opened the door and threw my daughter in. I just got her in the car seat, didn't lock it down, locked and shut the door, and put the keys in my front pocket. I ran around the back of the car before she could get to me, and that's when I saw the van next to my car and a man get out and head straight for me. I memorized their tag, and he came after me. What he didn't expect is that I know Krav Maga. Okay, I'm a ranger's daughter, an airborne ranger's daughter. I can defend myself quite eloquently. And I put him to the ground, and I started smashing him. And he got up and he ran, and I knocked him down 3 or 4 times before he finally got away from me. The woman just ran, and then she got into the van and drove off. We called the police. The FBI showed up at my house. We had to report it. I had to describe them. And I found out 2 weeks later there were known kidnappers from North Carolina. And they had just kidnapped a little boy in Disney World. And they were looking for him. I said, "Well, they're up here now." They tried to grab my kid. And my husband, who became hysterical, said, "Oh my God, what do we do now?" And I said, "We just be vigilant from here on out. People are crazy these days. They do terrible things." And dog, if it didn't happen to us again, we were in another grocery store, and she was about 4.5, 5 years old, and a man ran up to us wearing a black running suit and tried to grab her. My husband's 6'4.5", and he hit him hard. The guy went straight to the ground, and he got up, and they ran out of the store, and I grabbed my daughter, and went to the car and locked myself in. And I thought, this can't keep happening, in
Don't
my
come
life.
between a parent and a child. So Heidi,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to people who want to, develop or awaken to this instinct?
Oh, I think the best advice I can ever give, I think, is just to be aware, because suddenly things will gonna start happening to you in your life. You just need to be aware of it. That's the best thing I can describe. So have an open heart and open mind. That's the best
Right.
thing you can have, and just do whatever you can to look into it. And when something happens, share it with people you know, people you love. And I hope they will understand. Some will not, but some will understand. But just continue doing it. Listen within. I always say listen within, because the voice in there is the voice of God. So always listen within your your spiritual heart. Okay.
Do you
So
meditate? Do you meditate? Do you go quiet and pray or meditate every day?
yeah, I do meditate, and when I pray to God every day, well, a meditation, it also can be talking to God all day long. It's also kind of meditation, but I do meditate and I do pray every single day. I do.
Well,
Yeah,
good advice.
yeah,
Meditation is how I learned how to do astral projection, and that
yeah,
changed everything for me.
yeah.
So you also talk about how one time you found a little lost boy.
Yeah, I did actually. And that was also an incredible experience. I want to share that with you as well.
I would love
And
that. Yeah.
it was one evening, a family who actually originated from India and Sri Lanka came and asked for help to find their eldest son. He was kind of mentally disabled, and he had left home to visit a good friend, but he had not returned home. So somehow he had lost his way on his way to a friend's house and wandered off in another direction in the city.
Mm.
And nobody knew where he was. The family was very desperate and very unhappy. So they looked me up, and I offered my help to come back with them to help them search for him. Okay. And we gathered at their home. We talked to the police, so that the police was informed that he was lost, and we were trying to find him and everything. And the police would contact us if they had any information. So that was amazing. We were a group of 5, 6 people back then. And first there was another Danish girl who talked to the police, and then I took over because I had the phone with me, so I could talk to them if anything happens. Okay. And we were that group of 5, 6 people, and we split up and gone in every direction to try to find this boy. And then the police actually got a hint from people who phoned the police about a dark-skinned young boy going around. He was asking for food or something to drink. And they told me that he could be in a residential area far away from his home. And if he were where we thought he were, it was actually in one of the bad areas of the city.
Oh no.
So we did need to find him immediately. But we were out there, we were searching almost 3 hours, I remember that. And it was actually very cold that evening. We were freezing, all of us. And I thought about that young man because he was very thin, slightly thin guy. And I know he must be freezing terribly, And the fear I had was that he was lying down there somewhere and will fell asleep, and that's not good with the freezing temperatures, right? So I actually feared for his life. And if he was wandering out on that field behind the residential area, it would be like looking after a needle in a haystack, because he was dark skinned and it was pitch black night. It was.
Oh.
So we became actually very desperate. We tried to go back home to see if he had come home in the meantime, but he wasn't. And it was a Saturday evening, and the police were so busy in the city center because there were so many drunk people there. So the police couldn't help us, and they were really sad not to be able to be together with us looking for him. So we tried it ourselves, right? After a while, we got, as I told you, very desperate. So we need to do something. And I was really worried about him. And some of us wanted should we stop and let the police take over, or what do you know in that area? And I said, we can't do that. We need to find him, because I really fear he will die because he will freeze to death. So what happened next was we all jumped into a car. We drove around in the neighborhood to see if we could find him. We still couldn't find him. And finally, I actually prayed to God, I did. So what I did, I said, dear God, you simply must help me find this boy. I beg you. And then he answered, I will help you. And in that split second, he did that. He drew with a light beam a road through the area where to find him. So I just yelled out, please stop the car. I had to go out here, and I just ran whatever I could out there. And the mother behind me, and she said, do you know where he is? I think, yes. I said, we need to go that way because God showed me that way. And, I'm overweight, but my legs didn't mind. I was overweight. I just ran what I could. I think this strong power from God was inside of me. He needed to be found, right? And yes, we came to that area, the residential area back there I was afraid of. And then again, it happened. The energy inside of me stopped. I couldn't take another step. God prevented me from doing that. You need to be right here. And I looked around. I couldn't see anything. So the only thing I could do, I yelled so loudly out his name first time, but there was no sound at all. Nothing. We all looked around. There was nothing. And I wanted to take another step. God again prevented me from taking another step. You need to be here. So this time I yelled even more loudly and called out his name. And finally, a very weak voice answered my call. And then we found him. I tell you that everyone, the excitement, everything, everyone who was afraid, the anxiousness, all the fear that had, and the joy, and we all cried. We were so happy we finally found him. And that was the help from God.
Where was he?
Yeah?
Where did you find him?
He was actually in a small schoolhouse on the premises, just beside us, actually, not far from where we were standing. In the school premises that went up to that bed area, the residential area. He was in there in a small playhouse. It was actually a small playhouse. And he had put himself to sleep in there. And then he suddenly heard me.
Wow, that's riveting. Really touching. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I just love hearing these stories because it makes me realize just how truly powerful we are. And the connection, if you can build a connection to the spiritual world, you can raise your awareness. And I don't want to call them paranormal or supernatural abilities because I don't think they are. I think they're natural.
They're natural, exactly. And right? Natural part of all of us. It is.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness, the world needs more Heidi Elisabeth Hansen.
I think we are more out there than we know, actually.
Boy, that must have been so rewarding for you. Like, oh, good. Thank God.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have more experiences with God. The next one part I will go into is actually alien and UFOs. Do you want to have another story with God? Or should I continue?
Whatever you want to do. Whatever.
Okay. No worries.
Let me just take a quick station ID.
Yeah,
break.
you do that.
Give you a break from your voice. Because,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. You are amazing, Heidi. You're doing so great. And people in chat are like, wow, this is really cool. So I'm so excited. But yeah, just want to let everyone here know that you are watching The Light Gate. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. Our amazing guest today is Heidi Elisabeth Hansen. We've been talking all about all kinds of things, from ghost sightings to a near-death experience when she was just years old, incredible UFO encounter at age 5, and finding a lost child, and the Greys advising her to plant trees. And I'm only touching the tip of what we've talked about today. But I do want to let you all know that we are streaming live on 107.7 FM on the United Paranormal Radio Network from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana, and also the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3. Did I get? Yes, 105.3. Also from New Orleans, we're on Roku, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, We are on multiple platforms, so huge shout out to all the people who support us and allow this show to be made. We are having a ball. This is an amazing show tonight, one of my favorite that we've had, because Heidi, you're just so sweet, so sincere and honest, so interesting, so many really remarkable experiences that I wish people would talk about more. You know,
Yeah.
I don't see why skeptics find this so difficult, because I just love it. I love hearing about it. And even if it's bad news, there's a special sort of comfort in knowing a little bit of pre-knowledge about it. It's like, okay, something out there does understand and care that's beyond and greater than us. So I love all of this stuff. I think it's so amazing. Is that the cat? Oh, excuse me. All right. So where did you want to go next, Heidi? I know you've got a lot.
Ooh, yeah, I do. Then I will actually talk about the one avoiding an assault. Is that okay? I will do that,
Oh,
guys.
yeah, that's
Okay.
on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened was I often did my shopping close to my workplace, but unfortunately, it always meant that I had to fill shopping bags through the city to catch my bus. But this day it was a beautiful and sunny late afternoon, and I just finished work, and I had to walk through the town with 4 large shopping bags. When I suddenly experienced something quite unique, my heart began to sing by itself. I have only experienced that 2 times in my life, and it's very unique. How is it even possible, guys? The heart was singing. Not a word came out of my mouth, but the heart was singing. I felt peace, I felt love with no limits. And then all of a sudden, I had that feeling that something terrible was awaiting me on my way. My heart sang about God's love and the power of the universe. And the song increased in strength. As I came closer to the street I had to walk through to reach my bus. And I felt that inner strength grow inside of me to actually unknown proportion, enormous, I will call it. So it also on the same time gave me the strength to carry the 4 heavy bags with ease. So when I received that awareness, I was actually informed the situation that was approaching. I was going to be a victim of an assault. At that particular moment, I actually stopped walking. What did he just said to me? Me? Did I have to go through that? But, because it was God inside of me, I actually continued without fear. So I walked on, and my heart was still singing that he actually was protecting me. I think God was protecting me all the way through, so I wasn't scared. So, yeah. And the love inside of me just was so enormous. I can tell you that. It was like I was almost floating because of that love from God. And then, I saw the 2 attackers nearing me. They were actually annoying 2 other women on each side of the road. But as soon as they saw me, they went to me. The only thing I knew back then was I had to look the one coming right through towards me. I had to look him in the eyes. It was very important. I had to do that all the time. And the love, it just poured out of me when he was less than a meter away from me. It just poured out to him. And what happened was he just turned down his eyes towards the ground and just walked past me. He didn't even touch me. He just walked past me. And the other one just got over to him, grabbed him and said, go back and get her. You need to do that to get her. But then he just got loose of his grip and he said, no, that one I will not touch. That one we must leave alone, he said.
Wow.
And it was not the end of that. The song then quieted down because I almost reached the bus where I had to go. So that was amazing. But it was not the ending of that experience, because that person who actually who were the one who experienced the love from my heart, I met him in the bus. And when he saw me, he sat down with me. And then he told me, Heidi, I have started a new life away from crime and violence. I need you to tell you that, he said to me. That was happened.
Wow, that is poignant. That is
That's
amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
So it's like your paths were destined to cross, so his life could change.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Wow.
It was an amazing experience. It was, but something I say, God, not that kind of experience, becoming a victim of an assault. No way.
Things happen. I talked to a lady by the name of Nora who had a very similar experience. She loved Bruce Lee. She was really into, the karate guy. And she's walking to the store and his spirit appears.
Yeah.
And he said, punch them in the throat.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And he just motioned, go for the throat. And she's like, okay.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And some guy started to follow her. And she instantly did what you did. Turned around, stared him down, and approached him. Totally took him off guard. He was a big, tall, black guy. And she's this little thing. Oh, man. Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing, right? I love Bruce Lee. He was the one that started my martial arts training.
Really? Martial arts?
Yeah, because we were so inspired by him. So me and my twin sister, we started at martial arts training, karate. Yes.
Oh, wow. I started when I was 5.
Yeah.
My dad, at first is judo, and then I took karate, and then I took Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And
that's very cool.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how each of our actions has this ripple effect on everybody around us.
Yeah.
A person's life. Because just think how many people that man could have, hurt. And now he's going around and hopefully helping people.
Yeah.
Even something as small as a smile can have a ripple outward effect. So I think it's real important that we realize, this just shows how truly connected we all are.
Exactly. And we are all one. We know that we are all one, every one of us. We are. We all contain the same elements as the universe, the same DNA, slightly different, but we are the same thing, every one of us. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. Can I pop up a few questions from chat just for fun?
Yeah, of course you can.
And I think you may have touched on this, but maybe we could get a little bit more out of you. So, Louise is asking, Heidi, as a twin, did you have many psychic experiences with your sister? So did you have the twin telepathic connection that we often hear about?
Yes, I do. Yes, we do. We have that telepathic connection. We do.
That's very cool. Any other experiences you might want to share regarding being a twin?
Yeah, what can we say? We always know if something is wrong. When Tove is calling me, I know it immediately. And she also knows it immediately when I call. We often know what it's about. We have that feeling that when something is wrong, we know it. We know if she's sick and she went to the hospital. I felt it in here, and I also went to the hospital. So we have some kind of connection in that area. That's very unique. It's very unique. We have so many, I can't count all of them and tell all of them, but we have some very unique experiences.
Very cool.
There's a lot to say about DNA and how you're both the same,
Yeah.
That it gives you a connection through your minds right away. I know that I learned when I was in school that mothers and children have some sort of it's not as strong as an identical twins, but it's quite there. And that's because your children's cells become part of you and your cells become part of them. So you connect, and it's amazing how that works. And I think what it is that you're hearing each other on the same, I call it the channel, the bandwidth, people use the word frequency, and you're together that way. You can hear each other. And it doesn't break until somebody passes away. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's truly amazing. It is.
All right. Well, here's another question, which is a real mouthful. But Jen is kind of saying, I just checked on Amazon for your books. Can she talk a bit about her other books? I'm interested in the third, A Life with Supernatural Events. which is exactly what we're talking about. But
That's what we are talking about. Exactly. Yeah,
so
it is.
I'm just going to put these up here so people can see.
Yeah.
These are amazing books, and I just love
Yeah.
the way you write with this natural conversational style. A
Yeah.
Life with Supernatural Events 1, A Life with Supernatural Events 2, and 3, which is the thickest book.
Yeah, it is.
The Touch of God, Synchronicity, Remote Viewing, and Telepathy. And then, of
Yes.
course, Epic Dreams and
Some
Prayers. So these are all really amazing, but I'm curious, what got you to start writing these books? Because it's one thing to experience all this and share it with a few people, but then it's like quite another to, I know what a big project writing a book is. It's a lot of work. It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it is actually, because I didn't realize that I had to write books. Just 15 years ago, I didn't understand that I need to do that, but God showed me that I was to write books. And several people actually said it to me, beside God. Several people said to me, please, Heidi, you need to tell the world about your experiences, because we can help each other out there. So it's important that they hear your stories as well. And I can learn from other people and they can learn from me. And that's why we are here on Earth. We are here to help each other, right?
Yes.
That's the reason why I write my books. Exactly.
Wow, very cool. So Penny is asking, have you and your sister wrote any books together?
No, but she's actually helping me creating the covers. That's my sister.
Ah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Please give her a huge shout out and thanks for just
She's
helping
listening, so
along.
yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Okay,
Yeah.
what else you got for us, Heidi?
Oh, I haven't, the last one in the God area, because then I will go over to the alien UFOs. Okay.
All right.
So the last one I will share with you with God, who's also in this, is also one with my son, actually. And that one was about saving my son from death. It was. And I was actually put in a situation where I was forced to let go of my motherly bond towards my son. And it was actually a lesson in objectivity. And I had to save my son from death. So one evening I got a visit from death, which for me is God as well. And I was aware that it concerned my son. So he told me to concentrate on my son, and I was all ears. So I was a little nervous, so I called him and I hugged him very closely. But suddenly there came this message from deep inside of me: let go of him, Heidi. You have to be objective and not show your fear. So I let go of my son and sent him to the room to play. But now I was even more alarmed. I actually, in this situation, I have been permitted to take the necessary actions as revealed. And this was actually quite in contrast to earlier situation where my role was only to witness and where I could not participate other than I could pray for people. So, but this situation, mother and son bond is actually the toughest situation to be objectively in. That was not an easy word to say, right? Objective.
Yes. I have to yeah.
Yeah. But but that evening, I put him to bed and make sure in every possible way that nothing was wrong with him, so he could sleep sleep well. Okay. But and then the next evening, actually, it was already the next evening. And my son was playing, and I was down on the sofa watching the telly news. And then my son came to me and said, Mom, I want to go to bed alone today. So we said our good nights, and he went to his room, and I watched the television close, and I fell asleep. So what happened was, suddenly someone, I know it's God, took this and did that and pulled me out of the sofa, really like that, pulled me up and out of the sofa. And then I knew something was wrong. I knew it instantly that something was wrong. So what I did, I didn't know what it was. That's not true. I knew what to do, but I didn't know what it was all about. I just need to do what he told me to do. So I ran into the room. I grabbed my son, shook him up. And, I put so enough so he opened his mouth, and I put 2 fingers in his mouth and pulled them out again very fast. And, my son woke up a little bit and he said, Mom, what are you doing? And I do understand why. So I said, everything is all right now, my son. You can go and sleep again. Everything is all right. And I didn't know anything before I left the room. I opened the palm of my hand. A very large piece of chewing gum was in my hand. That would, without a doubt, have choked him during the night. That was it. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Heidi.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can see, if I had acted differently, I might have done something wrong, but I was totally controlled by God. So because I did what he wanted me to do, it went well.
That's amazing, because he asked that night, well, I want to sleep alone that very night. Like, oh my gosh, and that happens.
Yeah.
There is some strange synchronicities there. You talk a lot about synchronicities in your books too. Gosh, there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, Heidi. This is so cool. I am really enjoying this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's weird. When we got hit by Hurricane Michael, I was staying with my daughter for a while, and it was very bad. It peeled the house like a banana. And we got everything out into a house that I owned in Columbus, Georgia. And we brought all the animals. We had a dog and 7 cats. And we got everybody out. And they went back to start working on the house, her and her husband. And one night I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I felt like I was alive on fire. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And Emmy popped into my head, my daughter. And I started calling her, frantically calling her. And 20 minutes after that started, the phone rang, and it was her husband saying, we're in trouble. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, Emmy fell into a fire. They were burning debris. Yeah. And he said, it's bad, and I don't know what to do. And she's going into shock. And I said, you need to get her. Did you get water on it? Yes. I said, okay. So she's screaming. And I said, okay, put her on the phone. I said, Emmy, 1, 2, or 3 degree burn. And she said, I think 2 and 3. And I said, don't pass go. Go directly to the emergency room right now and tell your husband, go, go, go. And so they did. And they called me about 2 hours later and said she was really, really badly burned. And she would have been in a lot of trouble if she hadn't have gone. And she was actually considering it. And I thought, oh my God. And Tim said, did you know something happened to her? Is that why you were calling us crazy? And I said, yes, I knew. And he said, she said she was calling you in her head for help. And I said, no kidding, It's just weird how that all happens, and she still has some pretty bad scars from that,
Heidi, did your parents ever, have that with you in any way, or your grandparents, or did they experience psychic stuff with you?
Well, my family, my mom and dad, my twin sister and I have experienced so much with ghosts and aliens, UFOs, especially UFOs and ghosts. So they know about that as well. And then actually also because we lived in that haunted house as well. So everyone knew it, right? We did. So they have experienced it. I also have a cousin who is clairvoyant. And I think it's in the family somehow. Also, my aunt also has some kind of feeling. My grandmother was into she was into healing. And my great grandmother was actually into herbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this is so interesting. I've always said it a million times. Contactees are profoundly psychic. This is the rule. It's not the exception. It doesn't surprise me at all to hear you talking about this.
Yeah.
Gosh, you've got so much more to share. We're never going to get it all done, but let's try.
Let's try, right? So the next one is actually an experience I had when I was out walking my family dog. I was approximately 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I didn't know at the time. I can't remember, but I was very, very young at the time. And we actually lived here in Korsør, where I am again. And this was back in the 1970s. This happened. So one night I was actually out walking the family dog. Lady is her name. When I experienced something quite actually a bit scary. Lady was her name actually. She was walking right beside me, and she started growling and whining on the same time, putting her tail between the legs, and began walking backwards and tried to hide behind me. You know, a dog normally does not do that unless something really scary was going on. Yeah, a dog can feel that. They can sense that before we can. But when a dog reacts like that, you need to be alert, okay? So I couldn't see anything, but I felt the presence that gave me the chills. It was right in front of me, and I felt it was tall because I looked upwards, and I felt this kind of gas. I could smell the gas. I talked to my son about it. I think it's kind of maybe methane gas. I'm not sure. It was just a kind of gas I smelled. And when that happened, lady tore herself out of her leash and began to run down a street with me right behind her. I was scared. Yeah, sorry.
I said,
No.
I bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, bye.
Yeah. So me right behind her, you know, I was so scared. On the same time, I was afraid of losing the dog, you know. So I ran very fast and I yelled to the dog to stop. And finally, the lady stopped and came back to me, but still with the tail between her legs. She really was afraid, and my heart was pounding. And when looking back over my shoulder, I knew I had to pass that same spot again to get home safely.
Yeah.
There was no people there. There was not even a car driving by. We were all alone, me and my dog, a family dog, right? So, but eventually I got hold of my feelings and we started walking back. When we got to the spot, lady absolutely got behind me again on the other side. And when she did that, we ran all the way home. I can tell you that. I never walked the dog after that period, after that time, while we were living there. I didn't.
Did
But
you
when I
perceive
look
what
back,
it looked like?
sorry,
Perceive what it looked like, or
I could only feel that it was a tall one. But later in life, that's the remote viewing. I go back and look at what it was because I think that God prevented me from seeing what was in front of me because I think I would have died of shock because I have never met what I saw before. So, and because I was so young, I think I was protected to see what it was. But I was allowed to see it later in life.
How old were you when it
I
happened?
was about 7, 8, 9 years old back at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's young.
Yeah.
So what did you see in remote view?
What I see it was a kind of reptilian. I would see a lizard, a grown-up lizard, but on two legs, long arms. You know, it had that kind of shell. So it's really amazing, dark, very dark greenish, but yellow eyes, and a dark spot in the middle of the eyes. Some people call it reptilian. I don't know, perhaps because I never met a reptilian before, but it's a reptilian, an alien-like kind of entity. That's what I will call it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Was it
Yeah.
cold outside when that happened, or was it summer?
It was summer, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah, Dolly had a similar experience as a young girl.
Oh, really? Oh, amazing.
Yeah. I lived in the Everglades.
Yeah.
I lived in the Everglades, and I used to go out and dig up Indian burial mound, Indian mounds. Okay.
Yeah.
For trinkets and history, and I kept notes, like a real archaeologist, and I was taught how to catalog stuff and box it up and stuff, and I would take it to the planetarium because they had a big natural history thing in there, and I was getting ready to go. I had a canoe on the other one. It was like big swamp in between the mounds, and my canoe was on the other one, and I was on this one, and I had banked my, cleaned up my site, had everything packed up, and I was getting ready to go over to get to my canoe, and I felt on my right side, something's there. And I turned to look at it, and I saw him. He's standing there. He's 6 foot something, looking at me, and all I can hear him thinking is, I'm hungry, right? Well, I didn't even need to be told anything. I ran. Okay. I dived into the water. I swam over to my canoe. I left all my stuff there, didn't care. pushed my canoe as far out as I could before I even got back in it. And I didn't go back for a month. I was like, nope, no. And I realized years later that if he wanted to eat me or take me, he could have at any time. Okay, he could have overpowered me at any time.
Yeah.
So I realized that he wasn't actually going to eat me. He was just hungry because I can read minds. Okay, and
And you look like a tasty morsel.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. What I did what you did was the dog went. I can actually feel that. Okay, it's like I went on. I've done it. No
Oh,
problem.
you thought that was a goodie. You wanted you.
Don't play with me. No. So
Well, Scarlet Fire says, or no, wait, there it is. Subterranean reptilian shapeshifters. Yeah, I do think that they're subterranean because by all indications, from what I'm understanding, they're here on Earth.
right.
I talked to a contactee on the East Coast, and she basically was told that by the Greys she's in contact with, that they survived the dinosaurs. And
Right. They've been here as long as they have. They're sentient beings, and they're from here. They were here before we were. And so, and I don't, it's never been in the news that a reptilian killed or ate anybody. Okay. Never. The entire of my life. I'm 66 this year. Okay. And I've never heard, I've kept my ears open for stuff like that. Never heard a word about it.
I'm not sure it's going to make the news either.
News. Why wouldn't that? I know that my parents would have made sure it hit the news if it got me. So,
I bet so, yeah.
so I mean,
Exactly.
Wow. Well, amazing.
Oh
Gosh, to have that experience so young, I can see how that would have affected you for a very long time if you had seen
I
that.
think so too, yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. I can't even imagine.
No.
just be thankful that you're smart, you're intuitive, you hear reason, and you know how to move yourself when you need to. That's a good thing.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that was great to just sit down like, let's remote view this. Let's figure this out.
Exactly.
Well, you've done a lot of remote viewing then?
I have done from time to time. A friend of mine have asked me some stuff, and I could describe the scenery in details. I've never been there, but I could describe it in details.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Is it just like in your mind's eye that you see it?
Yeah, I see it as a picture. I could see a mountain. I could see the bushes. I could see the house and everything.
Nobody taught you how to do it either, did they? No, it's natural talent. See, I got the same
talent. Yes,
I've always been able to do it, and I see it the same way you do. All I have to do is shut my eyes, and boom, there it is.
Boom, there's this X. Exactly, Dolly. Exactly.
Which is so interesting because there are schools out there that'll charge you $500, $1,000.
Yeah.
I would just recommend reading Heidi's books.
Yeah, talk to Dolly as well. Yeah.
Once you realize other people are doing it, that inspires you to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Anybody can do it. Actually, anybody can. Yeah. I just would search for it in yourself first, though. That's what I tell people. You don't have to pay $500. Just start, and you will learn.
Exactly.
You'll learn it naturally.
Exactly.
Here's a question from Allison that I've been holding on to for a while. She's asking you, Heidi, when you look into someone's eyes, you said you see their soul. What things do you see?
Well, I see. Oh, yeah. Well, what I see when I see the soul of a person, I see what the soul is containing. The soul is the light of God. I can see that, and I can see how pure the person is inside of that as well. I can also see, I met one once, I can share that with you. I met one who was kind of a junkie, and I saw that in the soul as well. Yeah. It showed me kind of what it was, some dark signs in the spirit, and I knew instinctively that it was drugs. I knew it because I can see them. It's so beautiful. Every one of us is so beautiful inside of us. And the more beautiful, pure you are, I'm so flabbergasted every time I see that. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sight.
Wow.
I can't explain it otherwise.
I'm going to bring this up. This is a question from a skeptic. Garth Maui. We skeptics have been waiting for an irrefutable demonstration of these powers for years, decades, centuries. If it is real, why can't we duplicate it under the scrutiny of science? So what would you say to skeptics?
Yeah, I can't say anything to the skeptics otherwise to please open your heart, listen, see what's around you, because that's what I do. I think I have things born with me as well, because I have been able to do this since I was a little baby. So maybe it's something all of us will wake up suddenly, wake up at a point of time in life when God sees you are ready, you will be ready and you will experience things. But I can't tell you I'm not here to tell the skeptics, you need to do that and that and that. But the skeptics will wake up suddenly, and it's okay. It's okay to be skeptic and ask questions. It's okay for me to do as you do that, because everyone has a different kind of level here in life, but still we are here to help each other. So the only thing we can do, share the experiences and talk about it. That's it, actually.
Well, I can say it has been here real quick, Dolly, because this has been put under scientific.
That's my point.
Oh,
It has.
Yeah.
Absolutely proven it.
Yeah.
That's why they want to put chips in your brain. They've learned how to be psychic mechanically. Okay?
Yeah.
Back into the stuff. But they've proven in laboratory that people are psychic. They've
Yeah.
done wave experiments, everything. So I would suggest that this person, because you're so skeptical, you might consider the fact that you're closed in your thinking, and you need to open up and relax and let your research become a little bit better. And you would be the person you would be the person to start your research with, sir. You have the ability as well as anybody else. And if you want to learn the truth about things, open your own mind, use your own abilities, develop your psychic abilities, and prove it to yourself first. Then go looking at everybody else.
Right. Exactly.
Duchess wants to come on the show.
Well said, Dolly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. She's a big one. So yeah, I will say that levitation has been proven scientifically at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Look into the experience of Hereward Carrington. Telepathy has been proven. Telekinesis. Look into the experiments done with Nina Kulagina of Russia. It's amazing. A lot of stuff has been proven, and these studies kind of don't get into the mainstream science books for obvious reasons. But they're there. Ultimately, each of us has to go on our own journey, because you can read anything, you can look at studies, but until you experience it personally, it's going to be an outside thing. I remember my first psychic event as a kid. I didn't even call it that. And it was just so amazing. But when it started happening as an adult, I'm like, okay, well, because I got into UFOs, and I'm like, gosh, all these people are seeing UFOs. I haven't seen one. I need to see this. I'm going to lose my mind, because I believe them, but I don't know. There's a huge difference between belief and knowledge. Dolly knows the word belief is a buzzword.
That's him insane. Yes. No, not at all.
You don't believe something is true. You know it's true.
Right.
Or
experience teaches you not to believe.
Right.
Belief is always a question mark. Okay. It leaves you open to question everything, and experience teaches you better than that. You learn. So.
Are your books available on Audible, Heidi?
Sadly, no, not at the moment, but I'm thinking about it.
All right. We'll talk.
Talk to Preston,
Yeah, I'll talk to you, Preston.
You really should do that.
A
lot of people really love the Audible books.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another quick question before we move on. This is from Scarlet Fire. Quick question. What am I saying? Look at this question. What is the general conscientious view, I guess, for aliens' views on Jesus? What do the aliens think of Jesus? Dolly, you talked a little bit about this.
Yes, I was taught. Okay, I spent my whole life being taught by the Greys and other, ethnicities of ET, and they have a firm belief, or not belief, a firm knowledge and experience. They know for a fact that there is what they call the all mind, and it is connected to everything. We are part of it. We are in constant contact with it.
Yes.
And when you're that wide open psychic like they are, they can communicate with it. It's very chatty, okay, all the time. And it'll help you whenever you want it. It'll teach you anything you want to know. It's there for you. And one of the reasons that we know this is because we are all in consciousness with the all mind. And when we're not here, we're there with that in source, okay? And so their understanding of it is quite amazing to me. It's very specific, It's very scientific as well. And when Preston says he doesn't like the word belief, neither do they. They know it. They experience it every day of their lives in every single way there is. And I find it fascinating because your experience has taught you to view it the only way you knew how to view it. Okay. But you say the same things. You're exactly correct when you talk about it. You're hearing the all mind, and it is personal. It knows who you are, and it will help you whenever you need that. And your consciousness, who you really are, the entity that you are, is in constant contact with it, and it will put you in touch with that because there's already that connection. And so it is, if you want to call that God, yes. And ET doesn't want to stop anybody from saying that at all, because their version of how to understand this is the all mind, and we are all part of it. And when you said we are all one, we are. No
I
difference.
love when you say that.
Exactly.
Every contactee, the really good ones who have advanced along in the path, always say that. And it's so interesting to me that they use the same words. We are one. You are us. We are together.
We are you, you are us, we are one.
Exactly.
And it is true. The template for the entire universe is within the body that you're indwelling right now. Okay. Everything you need to know about the universe is right here on this planet and in us. All of it. You can unravel the secrets of the universe, even in your DNA. And everything that is alive in the entire universe has DNA, and we're all related to one another. We're related to the bananas on this planet and the bonobos and everything else, blades of grass. If you're alive, you have DNA, and we're all related, period. And it's amazing. I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, it's not mystical, it's real. And that's the point, We
So,
can't.
Heidi, did the Greys ever talk to you about Jesus and God and all of this in any way?
Well, I actually had an encounter because I actually asked about it, because I said, I want to see if there is a connection between the aliens and God. And I got to see it. So it was absolutely mind-blowing. It was.
Yeah.
So there is a true connection between this as well. And I had an experience. Can I share that with you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would love to see that. It was actually because, I see the Greys, as I think Dolly does as well. They are healers. They are doctors. They are nurses. They are here to help us. I'm
Right.
not in doubt of that at all.
Right.
So I asked that question. I just said to you, I want to see if there was a connection between the aliens and God. And the very next morning, I got my answer.
Mhm.
So I only have told my son this, and I also told my friend in Hong Kong about it, but not many people know about this experience. Well, my twin sisters also know that now, but you will know it now as well. Okay. I woke up and, I saw something very strange. I was lying in my bed and I saw God talking to an old, I say brownish, grayish alien. And that alien was actually sitting beside my bed, that was actually lifted a little bit higher up in the air.
Yeah.
I was fully awake. So I saw everything was going on. They talked about my health, and the alien looked at my body and pointed out 5 places on my body, and they were marked with a red light that needs to have taken action to do something about it, right? And
Wow.
the alien actually talked to God about these 5 areas that needed healing, needed action. And I could see that when he told him what to do, the alien said, I want to do this. And the God responded, yes, you need to do that. And I saw that conversation between the alien and God. So suddenly he said, there's one particular area I need to do something immediately. And God nodded, yes, that's true. You need to do it right now. So what happened was he opened up my skin and put his long fingers inside my body. From within there was light, the golden, wonderful white light that is our soul. And he put in his fingers and did something around my liver area, and it was fast. And then he pulled them out again and he closed that little opening. He did. I didn't feel a thing. It
That
just
was my
happened
question.
in front of my eyes. Exactly. That was amazing. And it was amazing to get that confirmation, to see that they were working together like that. So he got his information from God and he did what he did to me. And I know those 5 spots, what they are. I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that with you. That's correct.
That's very cool.
Yes.
I've heard similar stories. Lady up
Yeah.
in Maine, she was a contactee. She said the ETs took her on board, put their hands right in her body.
Yeah.
And there was another guy who was, thought he was fine, but an ET appeared, put its hand in his chest. He's like, maybe I better go to the doctor. And the doctor couldn't believe he was alive. He's like, you have multiple heart problems. You should not be walking. We don't know how you're still walking. So he was basically maintained until he could get, he had to have open heart surgery and 3 or 4 things done. He was a walking miracle, they said.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. They do hands-on healing, kind of like
Exactly.
you were describing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I constantly tell Preston that they're light workers. And
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean by that. They're
They
light
are.
workers. Yep.
Exactly.
Wow.
I had another experience as well. I had another experience as well. And this was a dark gray alien, and that was actually quite wonderful. If I can tell that.
Sure.
It was one evening before my sister arrived for Christmas. And I had a conversation with an alien. I often have conversations with an alien. I had one that day as well. But it was the first time I saw an alien looking like that. He was darker gray in his skin, and he felt very important. Because
Okay.
I was not scared of him at all. I was not scared. I think it was the dark light. It was nighttime. So he looked darker in skin. I don't think he was darker in skin, but I saw him darker in skin. Okay. And what happened was I was sitting on the computer like that, writing, and beside me was the wall. So there was not much room. I think there was sat between me and the wall. And suddenly a window opened up beside me, and it expanded. And suddenly I was in his spacecraft. So I was sitting in Copenhagen, looking out my window there, but on the same time I was in his spacecraft, and I could look out his window and I could see Earth. I could see Earth. I could see the moon with his light on Earth. I could see the lights in the country with lights around because it was nighttime. And then I did that again. I just needed to confirm it and look out my own window in Copenhagen. I look up the sky. Okay, I was there. And then I did it again. I just needed to confirm it. So I just did it again to look out his window to see what I actually saw. That was amazing. It was mind-blowing to see that. So I was both places at the same time.
It's like by location.
By location, actually, yeah.
Wow.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you ever
And he was also there to tell me about health, about my son, actually.
Have you ever experienced levitation? I'm curious. Because
I have actually one time, and I was a kid when it happened.
Dolly.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I'm
about
the edge of my seat.
Yeah. Well, I was 2 months in my crib. They levitated me up in my crib. Okay.
Wow.
I never forgot that. Ever. But then when I was 2.5, I was trying to hide from my mother. We were playing hide and seek. She's very pregnant. And I wanted in the top of a closet, and couldn't get up there any other way. And I kept thinking, I just want to be up there. I just want to be up there. And all of a sudden my brain went, go on up.
Yeah.
And I did. I went right on in and shut the door and started laughing. And she could not find me right away. And when she realized where I was, she freaked out. And yeah, I've done a lot of levitating in my life. I used to climb trees. I'm not afraid to fall, okay, because I can levitate. And I used to jump from branch to branch and tree to tree and go very high up and do that. And my brother, my poor brother, I actually got him up into a tree. I put him on me and we went up. And I got him into the top of the tree. My mother's like, where are you guys? What are you doing? And she came out and she saw him up there with me. And she really passed out in front of us. She's like, bring him down now. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. And then I used to tell him how to go up in the hallway, and we would put our feet on the ceiling. We deliberately go get dirty feet and then put feet prints on the ceiling. And she unfortunately walked under us one day, and it freaked me out so bad. We went and it dropped right on top of her, and that made her insanely mad. And yeah, I've had a weird life. I saved myself as an adult. I was painting the hallway all the way up the staircase to the basement. And when I got to the top, I had a half a can of paint and a full one. And I was like, which one do I go down? I take the full one first. And I went off the top step and stepped straight out into the air. Okay, and I was going to go down, and I screamed when I did it, but I levitated myself to the bottom step. I went around the corner and landed on my tube. Didn't even spill any of it, really. Just one teeny little spot. My father was in the house. He heard me scream. He came running. He said, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" He knew I was upstairs. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And I've just done crazy things.
Well,
Crazy.
Heidi, before you share your experience, here's a quick question regarding the last one.
Yeah, okay.
Where you were, in two places in the window. When was that, Janice?
I think it was back in it was back in 22. I think it was before Christmas 22. Yeah,
All
it
right.
was.
Wow.
All right. So what happened with your levitation experience?
What did you
Oh
do?
my God. Well, I was out. The others was out playing, okay, and I was to run down the stairs to get out there and play with the others. We played football and everything out there at the time, so I was very young, a little girl actually. And suddenly I stood there on the staircase and I just got that inner feeling, I want to fly like a bird. It was so clear in my head and I felt it in my entire being. And suddenly I lifted up from the ground and I actually circulated a couple of times in the air, just like a bird. And then I was put down again because I just started to think, oh, if someone would see me, And then I actually landed again on the floor, but I did it, and I did it twice.
Really?
Wow. Did you have
That was
dreams of
amazing.
flying? Yeah. Did you have
Yeah.
dreams of flying when you were a small child?
I think so because I always felt that, and then I think that's also why I love birds so much. I don't know, but there's something there.
Did it feel like that flying when you levitated?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You were very light, and you just had it in your mind, as you told. You just had it in your mind, and I just lifted off the ground and just did that, circulated on the staircase. That was
in the same place on the staircase.
It was the same place twice, the same time. I landed and I did it again one more time, and then I landed again. Exactly.
And how old were you?
I think I was 6 years old, 7 maybe.
Wow.
It couldn't be. I was less than. It was around 4 or 5 years old. Exactly.
Because I wrote a book on levitation, and I got about 20 cases of children levitate from around age 5 to 12, maybe on the high end, and a lot of them, over half, are on staircases.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's something about that. I don't know what that is. I really don't. I don't know it either. I don't know if I want to know.
And I just asked that out of the blue. I didn't know. So.
Are you telekinetic? Can you move objects?
Yeah. I don't know if I can move objects. I never tried it. I didn't
know I could until I got mad one day and everything started moving. And I went, and I realized that the madder I get, the more it happens. And then I tried to do it on my own. And every now and then, even at this age, I can slam doors, open cabinets, do stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm working on my shower right now. I got a long handle thing and I let it hang down and I sit in there and make it move. You got to keep up with it. You ought to try. That's what I'm trying to try.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do it now. Yeah. You should do it. Yeah.
I can do it when I'm out of body. On the other side, I call to something. I'm like, come to me. And it comes. I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's fun. It's actually really fun. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, we have 8 minutes left.
Oh my God. Time flies by so fast. Yeah.
What else can we share in just a few minutes that we
in
have
a few minutes? I
want you to describe the coolest UFO you've ever been in. I want to know what the interior looked like to you.
Well, what I saw, it was not a small one. It was a bigger one. Mm-hmm. And I was lifted up in the air to look inside it. It was actually together with my twin sister Tove in Slagelse City when we saw those two large UFOs. We were lifted from the ground, so we were able to look inside the spacecrafts. They were huge inside. And there were actually many people in there, several people, I would say. People looking like you and me, I say humanoids. I will say that. It was large, tall, gray ones and small gray ones working together there. It was kind of a bench with computer-like. They were working there all together. And everything was busy. everything happened there. And I could see that we could all see that they were searching for something, because we saw the light on the UFOs searching the area where they flew. Okay, so we knew they were looking for something, but I think we got to see this because they wanted us to see it, and it was an amazing experience, because on the same time we were on the ground with our fate, but we were able to be there with the UFOs and look into that. It was just amazing to watch it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have another question from chat.
Yeah.
A good question. I think we do have time to answer this. JP23764 is asking, does Heidi's ability to read people or healing abilities work only when she sees people in person, or seeing people online or video is fine if they're in a different country, say on a video call? So can you read someone? Do they have to be right in front of you?
No, sometimes I just need to hear a name. Sometimes I know things. The same is it with ghosts. I think we do not really just talk about ghosts, but when I see a ghost, I see the full apparition, and I know what has happened because they show me what has happened. What can I tell you? I don't do healing like that, but I do heal. I can do the healing, but I don't do it because this is not my task to do so. But I would love to heal what I can, because I have the ability, and that's been given to be used. Okay. But I haven't done it for several years, but I do have the healing power, but I think it's God healing. I'm just the one putting on hands, right? Yeah, the rest of the work is God. So it's not me doing that. But when reading people, sometimes I just, as I said, just hear the voice, just hear the name, or a street. I see something just like remote viewing. I see things in details, but it's the same as you are very sensitive, or you call it psychic. You can see things about the person if is it necessary. And if God wants me to answer a question, I will do that. But he had told me that I'm not working with that. I need to go inside of me and share all what I have experienced and all the wisdom coming from within. That's my task. He said there are others out there that need to work with what they do, and they work as clairvoyant and they heal people. That's their task. That is not my task. My task is to share what I have experienced within myself with God and aliens and ghosts. Yeah.
Totally get that. I knew from a young age I was going to be a writer. I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be about. I knew it was going to be amazing stories. That's about all I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. And of course, you get pulled in many different ways.
And you can be.
So,
exactly.
if you're on your right path, things happen. The synchronicities.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So let me just pull up your books again, because I want to remind people that these are the books you want to check out. They are so awesome. Here is A Life with Supernatural Events. And these are available on Amazon.
Yeah, they are available on Amazon on several platforms.
Yeah, and I put them in the notes, so if you guys want to check them out, you can see them there. Here's the second one, A Life with Supernatural Events, Part 2.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've even touched a quarter of what's in these books.
No.
I know we haven't, because I was reading through some of them like, well, gosh. Experience with ETs and volcanoes, which was really interesting.
Exactly.
Right.
Here's part 3. And of course, this one, Epic Dreams and Prayers. So if you want to, all you listening out there, develop your abilities, I think this would be a good book to check out, because it is all about dreams, prayers, meditation, this sort of thing. So any last words you want to share, Heidi, before we...
No, I've just been so excited to be on here. I'm happy to have been able to talk to you two guys and the wonderful people out there listening in. I have been so nervous and so excited about it all, and you are so lovely, both of you. I love you guys. Really love you. I want to say that, okay? Yeah.
Well, we love you too. And
we're going to keep in touch. I have an idea about something. We have two of these, book number 3, okay?
Yeah.
The bigger one. And what I would like you to do is send me a note and sign it, and we'll put it in the book. And then what we'll do is we'll auction it off to the highest bidder.
Good
and then the money
idea.
we get from that, and it will be all above board. I will show everybody receipts. We're going to plant a tree for you. Okay.
Oh my goodness, that will be so amazing. The
Okay.
aliens are already happy. I can see the smiles.
Yeah. Okay. It just came to me. She needs to plant a tree in
Oh,
the US.
fantastic, fantastic. Good
All right.
idea.
Before we close up the show, I do want to give a shout out to all you people
Yeah.
who generated so kindly
Yes.
the
Thank
super
you.
chats. Thank you, W. Decker and Penny Coons, and just a Gen X dirtbag baby, and KMA, aka goodness gracious, Aunt Cat Sadik,
Oh,
and namaste.
namaste.
Thank you so much. You guys are so amazing.
Yes.
Crazy Horse, thank you, Terry, Rick Schatz. Oh my gosh, you guys. Allison Carr and Sukhoi, 29K. You guys are just the most awesome people. We
Yes.
love you, love you, love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And chat is absolutely delighted that you came on to the show. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the Light Gate. I'm sure I'm going to be asking Heidi after the show what date can we come on next with her. And I hope you'll have a wonderful, wonderful week. Everybody meditate, trust yourself, learn to use your abilities, and help anybody who comes to you this week. See what happens. I love you all very much. Namaste. And y'all have a wonderful time, and we'll see you next
love
week.
you. Thanks, Heidi. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Oh, let me call it off. You've been listening to the Light Gate on the United Public Radio Network in New Orleans at 107.7 and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3. We love you all so much. Mwah. We'll see you later. Bye.
Good call, Gadali.